Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another episode of Mind Your Puckin' Business with your host, Jeffrey Krentzman.
Thank you, Dougie Sticks. Good morning.
Absolutely. Good morning.
Good morning. Coming to you, as always, from the beautiful studios of Undefeated Media here in Bergen County, New Jersey. This is the Mind Your Puckin' Business podcast, brought to you, of course, by our friends at Sonnet Financial Technologies. This is episode number 56. So those using the SAP button on your dial today, that would be 56.
See?
There we go. And you can send your questions at any time to mypbshow@gmail.com. And you can hear us in a variety of different ways: Spotify, iTunes, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you want to find us, you can find us. Can't
Absolutely.
hide. We can't hide.
Can't.
How are you? Everything good?
Everything's good.
Yeah.
I mean, a little technical difficulties, which you see, but we're good. We'll be all right.
We're good. We're good. Nothing in the studio today that we can't work around.
Yeah.
No problems. We can't. We're up. Now we're up.
Yeah.
We're up on the screen. There we go. See, right as you said it.
The TV wants to not cooperate, but we're good.
The technology gods have cooperated with you when you need them the most. So, speaking of things cooperating and God on your side, the New York Rangers are red freaking hot to the point where I don't even really know what to say. There's just not a lot of issues. The Rangers have won 6 in a row. They've improved their record to 16 wins and 4 losses and 3 overtime losses, meaning that for the season they sit at 35 points already. Which is remarkable. You know, when we did a preview show back in October with Dan Rosen from the NHL.com, and we said, you know what, really the goal for this Ranger team is to make the playoffs, be competitive. They have really already shown that may be a very low expectation for this team because they have higher aspirations with the way that they're playing. They continue to be on a roll. Now, last Friday, eventually, bad news happens. You can't always be flying high. And last Friday in a game versus San Jose, Igor Shesterkin, who has been their MVP so far this season, their goalie, got injured. Now, if you watch the play, if you saw his reaction on the injury, you would think he's out for like a year, right? Turns out, thankfully, they think it is a week. It'll be about a week to 2 weeks, so he should return sometime next week at the latest with a lower body injury. The NHL is kind of annoying in that when a player gets hurt, and every team does this, they either have an upper body injury or a lower body injury. Everything is categorized one or the other. So you really don't know specifically what the issue is, but they seem pretty confident it is not major. It will be 1 to 2 weeks, and we can expect Igor Shesterkin back sometime next week. And they do have back-to-backs on the road midweek next week out in Arizona and Colorado. So you would assume, or Vegas actually, you would assume that he would be back some point next week. Now, what's interesting here, and this was a question we got last week, and I did take it, and it's been a couple questions about it in the last few weeks, is how their backup goaltender, Alexander Georgiev, has been playing so bad, right? And people were very quick to say, you know what? Trade him. We don't need him. Send him down to Hartford, which was my recommendation. And I had said at the time last week, send him down to Hartford because he would then at least get some regular work. What he probably needed was some consistency. Well, now that he's thrust into the spotlight as the number one starter with Igor Shesterkin hurt, he is going to be your starting goaltender, and he's going to get that. He played, he came into the game, actually, it was impressive versus San Jose. He came in the third period up 1-0, so really had no wiggle room for error, didn't have any warm-up, and came in when the Sharks were on a power play and didn't let anything up. And then he had to play the next night because the Rangers had back-to-backs. He started, and they beat the Blackhawks 3-2, and he played well. He had some really good saves. So it'll be interesting now this week, and the Rangers are in Chicago tonight. They're home tomorrow night. It's a really weird back-to-back. They're in Chicago tonight at 8:30, and then they're home tomorrow night at 7. So not only do they have 2 games in less than 24 hours, but they travel. They got to fly back from Chicago tonight after the game. So I'm not sure Georgiev is going to play both games. I think Huska, this kid from Hartford, is going to get one of them, and I'm not sure which one it is. But it will be interesting to see now if Georgiev, because he's going to get more steady work, is going to be better and more consistent.
Yeah.
You think?
Absolutely.
Right.
More practice, more
right. More Alexander Georgiev has gotten a lot of flack for his play, up until this past week. And it's been deservedly so. I mean, he's been letting up a lot of goals. And not even that. I think a lot of goals that when you look at the tape on them, you say, okay, that's got to really be stopped by an NHL goaltender. But now, this consistency and the fact he's going to play, it will be interesting to see now if he's better because he's getting more consistent work. Maybe what the Ranger coaching staff will have to consider is playing him a little bit more, knowing that you get two things out of it. You have your backup goaltender playing better because he's getting better work, but also on the backside of that, you're getting Igor Shesterkin some rest because I'm sorry, Igor Shesterkin cannot play 70 games this season and then expect to be playing in the playoffs. Goalies get burnt out.
Yep.
So that is where the value of your backup comes in, is that he saves your starting goalie some work. So it will be interesting to see. Other than that, with the Rangers, you know what? I thought about maybe seeing if Dan Rosen wanted to come on today, but I'm not really sure what we would talk about. We would just sit here and praise him. There's no, and I knock on wood as I say that, but there's just not a lot of negativity going on at all.
You got a new hoodie?
I got a new hoodie. Yeah. So I'm going to throw actually a little shout out. WeBleedBlue.com.
Yeah.
It's all one word. WeBleedBlue.com.
Yeah.
Does a remarkable job with their marketing and their t-shirt design. This is now Alexis Lafreniere.
Why don't you lower your laptop?
Lower my laptop a little bit. All right. If you look at it, it's Alexi play the goal song, but it would normally be Alexa play the goal song. So it's being sent to Alexi.
Right,
so check out, if you're a Ranger fan and you're looking for any apparel, I strongly recommend WeBleedBlue.com.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is their stuff awesome, I have a ton of stuff from there, but they also are very, very affordable. And if you're looking at holiday gifts, check out WeBleedBlue.com.
Nice.
So the Rangers remain on a roll. So some news from around the NHL, and it kind of involves the Rangers because of who it kind of was thrown into it. The Philadelphia Flyers, who no Ranger fan likes, we don't ever wish good things on the Philadelphia Flyers. They had hired last year at the beginning of the season, had hired Alain Vigneault, and that name sounds familiar to all Ranger fans because he coached the Rangers for, actually, let's see, 5 years from 2013 to 2018. And he had a good run here. You know what? If you look at AV when he was here, he did okay. He was let go yesterday and fired by the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers are in a massive free fall. The Rangers beat them up pretty bad last week. But the other night they played at home on Sunday night versus Tampa. And I think it was like either their 8th or 9th loss in a row. They were abysmal. He kind of had the feeling that the axe was coming, or if it wasn't coming, it was potentially coming soon. And it happened yesterday morning as the Philadelphia Flyers released Alain Vigneault from his contract. So here was my knock on AV. And I don't remember, honestly, if I've said it on the podcast or not. AV has had a track record that when he goes places, and I've said this for him for a while, he has a really good first year when he goes places, and then the messaging in the locker room just starts to fade. Look at what happened with the Rangers. He was brought in here in the offseason of 2013. So in that year, it was a strike shortened season, and the Rangers were eliminated in the second round by the Boston Bruins. This was when John Tortorella was coaching them, and John Tortorella got fired after some exit interviews with the general manager at the time, Glenn Sather, where Glenn Sather had concluded that Tortorella had lost the locker room. So AV kind of came in, and is known as a people's coach, right? So he comes in the first year, and he takes the Rangers to the Stanley Cup Finals. They lose to the Kings in 5 games, which is still frustrating to talk about because the Rangers could have very easily won that series, to be honest with you. But they didn't. And the next year, so you know what? Let's track here his teams. Are they going? Which way is the trajectory going, or slope, if you will?
Yeah.
Every year. So 2013, the Rangers start the highest they could be. They get to the Cup. The next year, they have a good year. They lose in Game 7 at home on a Friday night, Memorial Day weekend. Eastern Conference Finals to the Tampa Bay Lightning. So you took a small step back, but look, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals is a successful year. The next year in 2016, they lost in the first round in a very uncompetitive series versus Pittsburgh. And then in 2017, they lost what was probably, and I'm choking over here on something. I don't know if it's the cold air in the studio, but they lost a series that when I look back, I just get frustrated thinking about it because they lost in the second round to Ottawa. And if you remember in that series, the Rangers had multiple 2-goal leads in those games and lost those games in overtime. I think it was Game 1 and Game 5, if I remember. It was the series was definitely 2-2 in Ottawa. A crucial Game 5. They had a 2-goal lead on a Saturday afternoon, if I remember, and they blew it. Yes, that I remember. So then the next year in 2018, the messaging with AV in the locker room was just completely gone because they didn't even make the playoffs. And he was fired in April of 2018. He took a year off and then went down south on the New Jersey Turnpike to Philadelphia. So we wish AV well. I'm not sure he's going to get another coaching job in the NHL. He's been 4 places now: Montreal, Vancouver, the Rangers, and the Flyers. But we'll see.
Didn't we have high expectations for the Flyers this year at the beginning
The
of the
Flyers, look, the Flyers have been so bad that the expectation has clearly been that they should be better than they are. We thought, Dan Rosen and I, that they would be competitive for the playoffs, kind of like actually in the same breath as the Rangers originally, which was, hey, they're going to compete for a playoff spot. The Rangers are clearly making it look like they're going to be in the playoffs, and the Flyers are in a tailspin. And their interim head coach, Mike Yao, who they hired, is going to have to turn it around super quick if there's going to be any hope of making the playoffs. Although the word out of Philly is that Rick Tocchet is a high candidate to get the job full time, which would probably be a good fit. He played in Philadelphia. He's loved by Flyer fans. He's had some success coaching. I wouldn't go crazy and say he's had a ton of success. He's had some success and he's available. So he probably is by default also one of the top candidates on the market, especially because Bruce Boudreau was hired the other day by the Vancouver Canucks. So we'll see what happens.
Is this a good idea to do like mid-season?
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Flyers, you have to. You've lost 9 in a row. The team is completely out of whack. I mean, the goaltending's bad. They're letting up. They let up 50 shots last night on goal. You can't win a game. I don't care if you have Patrick. Well, I was going to say Martin Brodeur, but I don't like him, so I'm not going to say it. But if you had an all-star goalie in goal, you can't let up 50 shots on goal. You can't expect the goalie to stop 50 a night.
Yeah.
So they had to do something. We'll see what happens over there. But they better figure it out quick.
I mean, if you let in 50 shots on goal and you let in, let's just say 10%.
Yeah.
That's 5 goals.
It is. So the Rangers now circling back there, they're going to play 4 and 6 nights. They're in Chicago tonight. They're home tomorrow against Colorado. As I mentioned, they go up to Buffalo on Friday night and home against Nashville. So, you have some opponents. Chicago has been playing better, but on the back end, Buffalo and Nashville are winnable games. Colorado is going to be hard tomorrow night. Colorado's playing well. Colorado is that team I just mentioned that had 50 shots last night. So Colorado is going to be very hard tomorrow night on the back end of a back-to-back at home. I'm just warning you, Ranger fans. The streak may end tomorrow night, if not tonight.
Don't say that.
Well,
say it out loud.
I try to be honest. I don't come on here.
Yeah, but you can insinuate, but you don't say it out loud.
I didn't say it will happen. I said it may.
You got a rough road ahead.
Guess what? Hockey teams don't go 82-0. Look at the Rangers, right? They lost
but hockey teams do use juju.
They do. But hockey teams also, like the Rangers, if you remember.
Yes.
I think we were on this week.
Yes.
They had their first game this season in Washington. That's where they started. And they played terrible. They lost, I think it was 5-2. And everyone, oh my God, the new coach is terrible. Well, since then they're 16-3. So, you're going to lose some here and there. But kudos to the New York Rangers. All right, shifting gears to the NFL. Let's start with our weekly picks. We're going to have Paul Farrington on in a couple minutes to go over some NFL talk with some of the topics. But last week with our picks, we went into the week 9-3. We've been on a roll, right?
Hell yeah.
And you're excited about it. I like it. You'd be more excited about it if you took the advice and were betting on it, because then you'd have money to back it up. I'm calling you out over there, B-Rock, on that point. But anyway, so we were 9-3. And when I made the picks, I said in the last pick, I said, I'm taking a game I don't want to do. I'm taking the Patriots +3 in Buffalo, but I don't want it to come down to this where we're 2-2 and the Monday night was the thing that mattered. And wouldn't you know it, because we hit the Chargers +3 at Cincy, and we had the Seahawks +2.5 at home for 2 wins, and we got the Texans +8 at home versus the Colts wrong, and the Jets +7 versus the Eagles wrong. We entered last night 2-2. So the Patriots, even though I wanted them to lose in the worst way, decided to find a way not only to get me coverage. I would have liked Buffalo to win by 1 or 2, so then I would have had it both ways. But the Patriots won the game outright, in which was a disaster of a game to watch, from what I'm told, with the elements up there in Western New York. With the Patriots winning, we had another winning week. We now moved to 10-3.
Nice.
Red hot.
Yeah, better listen.
I mean,
better listen.
At what point do the people that listen to this program, if you gamble, right? Now, we don't know everyone that listens to us, but if you're into DraftKings, FanDuel, whatever or maybe you're in Vegas or whatever, and you have a place that you can legally bet, But if you listen to our picks, and we're now 10-3,
Mhm.
I mean, we've had literally 10 winning weeks out of 13. When are you going to start, like,
Believing.
I mean, what more do we have to do?
I don't know. I think we're doing pretty good.
I would say so.
Snooze, you lose.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely do. And so hopefully, if you haven't had the confidence to bet with us yet, a 10-3 record makes you feel a little bit better. So let's take on our week 13 picks here. Oh, no, I'm sorry, week 14. We're actually flying. This is week 14 picks. Give me the Bengals -1 at home versus the 49ers. The Bengals, I said it last week, and I was right. They are plagued by inconsistencies. They lost this week to the Chargers at home. But they are now basically in a pick'em game versus the 49ers, who are overrated. Give me the Bengals -1. I love this game at home versus the 49ers. Give me the Texans +8 at home versus the Seahawks. The Texans need to recover. The Texans are not good. I had them +8 last week. Why would I do it again? Because things have to balance out somewhat. They're not going to lose and get blown out at home again. And I'm getting more than a touchdown. Give me the Texans +8 at home versus the Seahawks. Give me the Raiders +9.5 at Kansas City. I do not know what is up with Kansas City. It is maddening and frustrating because I have Patrick Mahomes as my quarterback. So I know they are not putting points on the board. And as they're not putting points on the board, the Raiders are getting 9.5 to cover. Give me the Raiders +9.5.
Wow.
Give me the Lions +7.5 at Denver. Congratulations to them on their first win this past week. And now they get a little momentum going on a road versus a Denver team that really isn't that good. 7.5 is a lot. Give me the Lions +7.5 in the Mile High City. Last game. Didn't want to do this, but I had to pick. There were not a ton of games to pick this week because there's a lot of teams on bye. So we lost the ability to kind of sift through things and have confidence level. But give me the Jets +6 at home versus the Saints. We do not know.
Yeah.
Right? You can see it happening.
Yeah.
And we don't know with the Saints, another one of my fantasy players, we do not know if Kamara is coming back. If Kamara is not playing, who do they really have? The Jets are not good, but +6 is a lot. So give me the Jets +6 at home versus the Saints. So to recap, give me the Bengals at home -1 versus the 49ers, the Texans +8 at home versus the Seahawks, the Raiders +9.5 at Kansas City, the Lions +7.5 at Denver, and the New York Jets +6 at home versus the New Orleans Saints. You okay with that?
That sounds good to me.
So you know what I did last night, speaking of betting?
Yeah.
I had wanted I wanted to do something for there wasn't a lot on TV last night, so I wanted to bet on something. So I had heard from, I think it was on ESPN during the day, that the weather in Buffalo was really bad last night, was going to be bad, or windy was the word actually, for the Patriot and Bills game. So I went on FanDuel. I went on DraftKings and found a lot of prop bets for Josh Allen. So it was over under passing yards, over under total touchdowns thrown, over under completions. I took the under on everything and I hit them all because the weather was so bad.
Did you do a parlay?
No, you know what? You can't. They don't let you parlay props, but they let you. You can all do them all as separate bets. So I had 5 separate prop bets on Josh Allen, and I pounded the under on them all, knowing the weather was bad, and they all hit. So sometimes, you get a little inside information. You put 1 and 1 together, and it can pay out for you. And actually, all of those bets were not even close. Like, I think Josh Allen's total yards were like 260. He didn't even finish anything close to that.
Wow.
So
smart man.
Yeah,
you're a smart man.
Sometimes. Talk to me after week 14. Then we'll see what we got.
We'll still be up.
So here was the thing about going. By the way, here was the thing about going 10-3. Well, we've already clinched this, I guess. But
so how many weeks are there?
There's actually, they added a week, so there's 18 weeks. So at worst, now we could go 10-8. Like, if we
already won over the hump.
We already won over the hump. That's why this week was important, because at 9-3. We still had a chance if we had blown 6 weeks in a row, which we probably won't do. But if we did, we would finish 500.
Yeah.
Now we're guaranteed to have a second winning season.
We already won.
We've already
now we
can
just throw picks at a dartboard. We don't have to try anymore.
Wow.
We already made you money for the season.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I feel that's what I'm doing, like with the Jets Patriot game, or the Jets Saints game last night. So let's see. I believe with our technical stuff, I believe I saw Paul was in the virtual green room. Was he there?
Yeah.
He was there? Okay.
There
all right.
he
So
is.
let's bring in Paul. How you doing, Paul?
Good. How you guys doing?
Can't hear you, Paul.
You guys hear me?
See if we can get him.
Some technical difficulties this morning.
on our end, or is
No,
it?
not on our end.
All right, let's see.
I don't think
Our TV is off.
Can you guys hear me?
you don't even see him.
But, well, in any event, so I'm going to tell you a story while we wait for this about
All right,
the.
let me
You guys,
Brian, check the stream.
can you
So
hear
B
me?
Rock is going to. There he is. Now I see him. Let's see.
You see him.
Can
You
you
have
hear me?
trouble hearing.
No, nothing.
We'll get you situated.
You don't hear him? You hear him? All right.
Hold on. We have our technical staff here at Undefeated Media.
How
How about now? Say
Yeah.
there we go.
Right, there we go. There we go.
There we go. It's Technical Tuesday here at Undefeated
Yes.
Media. Without a no heat in the studio either. So it's like technical a million ways.
Just kick me while I'm down.
No.
Orange.
It's fine. Actually, it's not that bad. How
Yeah,
you
the
doing,
heater's
Paul?
right on your feet.
I'm doing better
How you
now.
doing?
Now that I can hear you guys.
Yeah. So I will tell you before we get into some questions to run through with you. I thought of you on Sunday, not in a good way. The Red Zone had put on this coverage of the Vikings Lion game, and I'm watching the final drive, and I was thinking to myself, man, Paul Farrington must be flipping out right now. And I was like, nah, they won't lose. It's the Lions, and what happens to happen. So I apologize for that. I hope you've recovered.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I think I've been broken one too many times this season, so I gave it a slight chuckle and then moved on with my day. But
Right.
Still, I mean, you don't expect the Lions to be the ones to blow it in the end, but something had to give, you know.
One thing before we go on with your team, from a fantasy perspective, is Justin Jefferson is incredible. I mean, this guy, I wish I had him on my team. He is just an unbelievable player, and
I
keeps
think
producing.
you could go so far to say, in terms of any receiver in the league right now, moving forward, he's the guy you'd want to have. Because
he could be
22 years old, can make every catch. I love it. No, he's phenomenal.
Yeah. You are right about that. So he's driving your Vikings offense. I'm going to go back to a question I've asked you before. I feel like I may have asked you this more than once, but I'm a Patrick Mahomes fantasy owner, and it's driving me nuts. I'm going to ask you again. The Chiefs' offense is so average or even below. I wouldn't say horrible. That may be like a little excessive, but they are just average. What is it ever going to get better?
I'm starting to question it too at this point in the season, because what are we now? We're 13 weeks in. We're getting into it, and they still have never broken out of it and look like the Chiefs' offense of old. So the thing for Kansas City fans is they don't care because they're winning games right now. They might be a little nervous for the future, but with the way the AFC looks at the moment, as long as you're winning, you're going in the right direction. I think they're on track to possibly take over the 1 seed at some point by week 17 or 18. I don't think I actually have faith in the Chiefs offense ever looking like they were last season or the year prior during the rest of this regular season. But for Kansas City, they're still winning. So
yeah, they're winning. But for fantasy owners, I'm more concerned about this than I am. So a good point with the AFC. There is no favorite. There's inconsistencies everywhere. The Chargers 1 week are good. The next week they're terrible in Denver. The Bengals are good 1 week, then against the Steelers. Then the next week they're bad. They're losing it at home to the Chargers, or they go to the Jets on Halloween and lose there. Nobody is consistent. The Ravens go into Pittsburgh this week and lose. There's just inconsistencies everywhere. Unfortunately, last night, America's least favorite team, the New England Patriots, moved into the number 1 seed in the AFC, which I have to admit is amazing because I am not a Patriot fan in any stretch of the imagination. Who is right now in the AFC your pick to go to the Super Bowl?
The whole year, I think both of us have been on the Bills and the Chiefs at times.
Mm-hmm.
Hard not to go with New England right now. They look the most consistent on both sides of the ball. I mean, defense, special teams, throw it in there. Like, they're playing the best in the AFC, maybe the best in the entire league. Well, they have 7 in a row now.
Yeah.
To me, they're just the team that looks the best. We talked about Kansas City's 5-game winning streak, but still that offense doesn't look the same. It doesn't look like a comfortable offense. New England, everything looks to be run smoothly. Belichick's doing a great job.
Yeah, what worries me now, again, I'm not a Patriot fan, but the Patriots moving into the 1 seed, if they can hold on to it, and they do have to play Buffalo again, but if they can hold on to it, they would then force teams to have to come to Foxborough in the winter. And I'm sorry, but the Chargers and Justin Herbert are not going to win in 10-degree weather in January. I'm not betting on that. So if the Patriots can lock in the number 1 seed, I agree, they're going to have a good chance because teams are going to have to go through Foxborough. But I am with you. I still think the Bills can be dangerous. Again, we talked about inconsistent. I may let last night go because of the weather. They were throwing offense, and Josh Allen in that elements last night couldn't do much. I'm not really sure anybody really could, but you're right. The Chiefs, you want to get on their winning streak and look on the surface, that's good. But when you look in a little bit more and you look at the offense not doing much, there's a little cause for concern. So, yeah, I don't know. The Colts, last couple of weeks, Jonathan Taylor explodes onto the scene more than ever. I had the 5-touchdown game actually in Buffalo, played well. He had 2 touchdowns this past weekend down in Houston. They're kind of creeping up. Are the Colts legitimate to make the playoffs?
Oh, I think for sure. I think for sure they are, especially as we're moving into the colder months. Like, this is a team that's built to play playoff football, run the ball, defense. To me, there's someone who's played elite teams and has played them close. And when I say elite, I know we have inconsistencies, but look at the top of the AFC, Titans, Ravens. These are teams that the Colts have taken to overtime, even though they lost. And then see what they did to Buffalo in Buffalo. Like, talk about a team that's playing well at the right time. That's the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, and I do think up there, I mean, look, Carson Wentz is not going to ever be in the discussion of Brady, Mahomes, and Rodgers and those guys, but I mean, he is a decent quarterback. And when the running game like that, Michael Pittman's been a good wide receiver for them. They still have T.Y. Hilton, who's, I mean, obviously older, but they do have some pieces there. Defensively, they're better than people give them credit for. I'm not sure if I was a team and I had to play them in the first round in a month, I would be thrilled.
Oh, no. I think that's an uncomfortable matchup for a lot of teams.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would want that. So is this Bill Belichick? So I read somewhere or I heard somewhere. I'm trying to remember. Oh, it was Rex Ryan, actually. So it was a real compliment because it was Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan last week said that this season, with what Bill Belichick is doing with his personnel, obviously he doesn't have Brady anymore, might be his finest coaching job ever. Agree on that?
I think it's one of them, but it's hard not to pick 2001. If you look at the resume of Belichick, putting in Brady over Bledsoe, you're a double-digit, maybe 14-point underdog in the Super Bowl to the Rams that year. Like, that's not a year you're supposed to win the Super Bowl if you're the Patriots. To me, and by no means am I a Patriots fan either, but I think that would be the best one, in my opinion. Though this season is impressive. Like, it's hard to deny it.
Yeah, the greatest show on turf, that team they beat. I was actually living in Boston at the time. So unfortunately, we were just talking about that here before, that unfortunately I had to be there when they won the Super Bowl, which was not an enjoyable experience as someone who doesn't like the Patriots. All right. So trying to figure out a Super Bowl favorite here, right? I was thinking about this last night. And if I was trying to pick a team that I had to put money on right now to win the Super Bowl, is it a better move for me to pick a team with a quarterback like a Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes versus a team maybe whose quarterback like a Joe Burrow, nothing against Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert, someone with a lot more experience? Is a smarter money here trying to lock in a Super Bowl winner on a team with a quarterback like that?
Well, by no means am I a big-time gambler, but but I would say if you look at history, look at the guys who are winning the Super Bowls. It is normally Brady or it's normally Mahomes. A good money play, though, if you're really looking for one, and God, I'm not gonna like saying this on air, but the Packers are floating around at like plus 700, and they look really good in an NFC that is kind of void of elite teams at the moment. The Rams aren't exactly who we thought they were, to quote Denny Green, but I think the Packers are a solid bet, and yeah, I would definitely stick with Mahomes or Brady. Keep it within that elite tier of quarterbacks who typically get the job done.
So one last question for you before we let you go, because you were talking about the Rams. Next week, they have a critical game, Monday Night Football. Actually, Monday Night Football has ironically gotten it right. Last night with the Patriots and the Bills was a good game. And next week, they have the Rams and the Cardinals, really in a good showdown. Kyler Murray came back this weekend. Great performance, both in the air and with his legs in Chicago over the weekend. Who do you like in the Rams? Actually, let me ask it to you this way. Who do you think wins that division, the Rams or the Cardinals?
I think the Cardinals win. Kyler's injury, well, it wasn't – obviously you never want your star to get hurt, but that allowed him to rest for 4 or 5 weeks, and he's coming back refreshed heading into the playoff stretch. if I'm a Cardinal fan, we were able to survive that stretch of games without Murray. And right now, like, I think they're in good shape. This is a team that we're forgetting about as one of the favorites. Like, I didn't even mention them just now, and I was telling you Super Bowl teams, and they have the best record in football. So I'm all in on the Cardinals making a bit of a run.
I agree. And Hopkins is back, and the running back, James Conner, who a lot of people remember from his Pittsburgh Steelers days, is still running the ball well. That's a good offense out there. It really is. They've got some talent out there. And Murray is he's so hard for defenses to play against because he can run too. He's really he was reminiscent. I watched his game on Sunday in Chicago because it was on for a while here. It was reminiscent of the first year that Lamar was good. Like he had a running touchdown from 15 yards. They respected the pass, but he just took off and they couldn't catch him. So he's just so multi-talented. Yeah, and he's so quick. Well, thank you as always for coming on, Paul. We appreciate it, and we apologize for the Vikings loss the other day. But you have a short turnaround now. Thursday, you're the Thursday night game, so you're back in 2 days.
It needs to be a constant theme. Is that hello, Paul? Oh, I'm sorry about yesterday.
Hey, you know what? It'll turn around eventually. Well, thanks. And that is Paul Farrington of the Paul Farrington Show. Thank you for joining us, Paul.
Thanks, guys. It's always fun.
You got it. What do you think, Dougie Sticks?
So there's
gonna win?
There's a Rocky movie, right?
Mhm.
Where Rocky's a southpaw. He's a lefty. And I forgot who he's fighting. It's like Rocky 3 or 4 or whatever. And he trains the entire movie on his right hand because he's going to fight with his right hand. And then midway, Mick is going to be like, all right, now switch it. And then he switches to the lefty and then goes to town. Maybe that's what Patrick Mahomes is doing. Maybe they're doing this whole southpaw thing.
Really?
And then when the playoff hits, they're going to go boom.
Can I ask a favor then?
Yeah.
Can we do it before the playoffs hit and do it when the fantasy playoffs hit?
Yeah, I'm with you,
mean,
man. I'm not making the rules here. I'm just saying.
I would need it
Just
to
looks
happen.
like a night and day.
Yeah, I would say so. Do we want to see B-Rock? Is our guest here? Do you know?
Yes, our
Okay.
guest is here.
Perfect. So we will get them set up here. We will get them in a minute. But yeah, I would hope Patrick Mahomes gets it figured out before the. Hello, Tom. How are you?
Come on in.
So these guys are gonna they will come in here. Magic of podcasting, as they will be ready to rock here in a matter of moments.
This one.
We are.
Yeah, we're good now.
We are good. So Tom, if you want to do your thing, go ahead.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me on again for this week for our Sonnet Financial business tip of the week. So today I brought my good friend Ryan, who's going to talk about an esoteric topic that a lot of people don't really know about. Yeah, without further ado, I'll let Ryan introduce himself and tell you a little bit about reverse mortgages.
Cool.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me. And I've been doing reverse mortgages exclusively for over 15 years, and that's all I do. I'm licensed in over 30 states. I work for a company called Longbridge Financial. We're a direct lender. We service our own loans. And once again, I wanted to thank you guys for having me. I always look for opportunities to educate people. And Doug, I wanted to start off asking you what you guys know about reverse mortgages.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. I don't know.
Oh, that's
so if I get a mortgage, right, I'm like getting a home, right? So if I reverse the mortgage, I'm getting rid of the home. Get rid.
well, you know, there's always been some debate about the name of the reverse mortgage because there's a lot of negative misconceptions, and the word reverse means going backwards. So sometimes that may just be, you know, the image, but a reverse mortgage is for seniors age 62 and older, typically, that want to stay in their home. They built up equity and they want to borrow against it. And the big difference between this and a regular home equity loan is they don't have to make any monthly payments on it for as long as they live in the home.
All right. This is good stuff. We want to hear you.
So they don't make any payments at all if in the home come?
Correct. So we give them access. Let's use a live example. Let's say we have someone that's 70 around here in Jersey and their home's $500,000. $500,000 home, we may be able to give them access to $270,000, and they can take that money out how they'd like to. A monthly stream of income for them. They can leave it in line of credit and draw from it as they need it. They can take partial lump sum, whether they want to pay off credit card debt, whether they want to use it for home care, whatever people need money for, you know, and they don't have to make payments on it. When they pass away, the loan becomes due. So the estate inherits the home, and they have 3 options. They can pay back the loan and keep the home. They can sell the home to pay back the loan, or they can walk away. If the borrower owes more than what the home is worth, because if home values crash, no one's responsible for that difference.
Gotcha.
It's insured by FHA, the most common reverse mortgage.
So what are the so why would someone in that age bracket not do a reverse mortgage? If there's got to be pros and cons. It sounds pretty good.
Do they care about their kids,
the people when they pass away.
Well, that's, first of all, inheritance is a great luxury if you can do it. Like if you don't have a need for money, then there's no need for any kind of loan. So if you have enough money and you're comfortable, you don't need anything else, then bless you,
Right.
So you don't want to do it if you have to want to stay in the home. It's a long-term solution. The goal of the reverse mortgage is to allow someone to stay in the home for the rest of their life, hopefully, and live comfortably, give them peace of mind. So you wouldn't do, if you're concerned about inheritance and your kid inheriting every dollar, great. If you can afford to do that, that's great. But if you need some money to live on, which a lot of seniors are in that situation, they're living on Social Security, they're struggling to get by around here. And it doesn't have to be that way if they own a home.
So in the last year, we've seen with coronavirus, the mortgage market being good because a lot of people are moving, especially out here, they're coming out of the city. Has Corona had any, or COVID had any effect on reverse mortgages? Have you noticed a trend either way?
It's a great question. The last 2 years have been the busiest of my career out of a 15-year career plus in reverse mortgages for a couple of reasons. The low interest rates are good for us as well. It allows people to borrow more money, lower interest accruing on the loan. Secondly, people didn't really want to leave their homes before COVID. They really don't want to leave them now. You saw what happened in assisted living and nursing home facilities and things like that.
That's a very good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So that's not necessarily, and I'm fully supportive, and sometimes that is the right answer, to go into assisted living or a nursing home. And there's a lot of good ones out there. But people's perception is, I want to stay in the home as long as possible. Maybe I'll pay for home care here. I don't want to leave my home. That's the general belief.
My grandmother was 92 and was technically legally blind, although she could see. And she just refused for years to move into an assisted living. So she had like a home aide come in during the day. I guess she's exactly that clientele where just did not want to leave the home.
Right. That's a lot of folks. Now, sometimes the right thing is to leave the home, and that's where it comes in that you work with a trusted professional. That's not just going to push a product on everybody. You got to see if it's right for someone, that they could stay in the home, that it's affordable. Because even with a reverse mortgage, our underwriting, we have to make sure it's a good long-term solution, that they can continue to afford their bills and taxes and insurance, even with the program.
Very cool. Interesting stuff. So, and you're with Longbridge Financial, is that right?
Correct.
So if anybody listening wants, Ryan's direct info, they can certainly message us, DM us on Instagram, or send us something, and we can certainly put them in touch with you. That is interesting stuff. I had no idea what a reverse mortgage was. I had no clue, but I feel like I get it now.
As the person living in the home, I feel like it's great. Like I get free money.
Right, exactly.
Free money.
It's not free money.
But I'm gonna die.
Yeah,
you're leaving it on for the
Go ahead.
You don't get to take it with you, so enjoy some extra money while you're alive.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
As an alternative, you can ask your kids if you can move in with them at that age and have them take care of you.
Have Dougie Sticks.
No, I'd rather just take their money.
Have Dougie Sticks waiting on you hand and foot, right? In your golden years. Well, thanks for coming in. Thank you, Tom, as always. And we appreciate you guys listening as always. You can send your questions at any time to mypbshow@gmail.com. That is a wrap for today. We'll see how the Rangers do this week with 4 games. They're going to have to play the backup goalie Huska. That's my prediction at some point. I think it may even be tonight would be my guess. And we'll go from there. Do you have anything else, Dougie Sticks?
You might be hearing us. We are a little frozen here. There's a lot of technical difficulties, but we just froze, but it's a great picture of us smiling and laughing.
I'm glad.
But we're still live. But yeah, it's a great show. Good job, bud.
Thank you guys for listening. We will talk to you all next week.
Mid-smile.